Hello everyone. Welcome to the virtual class of Learning Cow Theory. In previous sessions, we have discussed a few important questions from the topic Learning Cow Theory. And today, in this session, I would like to discuss one more important as well as a technical question. Let us refer the question first. Expert Limited has observed that 90% learning curve ratio applies to all related cost each time a new model enters production. It is anticipated that 320 units will be manufactured during the year 2020. Direct labor cost for the first lot of 10 units amounts to 1000 hours at the rate of rupees 8 per hour. Variable overhead cost is assigned to products at the rate of rupees 2 per labor hour. In this paragraph, it is necessary for us to understand that in a batch, in a lot, we are going to manufacture 10 units. And for the manufacturing of 10 units, we are in need of 1000 labor hours. Here, we need to manufacture 320 units, and learning curve applicable to this process is 90%. Let us move to the second part of the question. You are required to determine total labor and labor related cost to manufacture 320 units of output. Average cost of first 40 units produced, first 80 units produced, and first 100 units produced, and incremental cost for 41 to 80 units and 101 to 200 units. This question is very easy if you understand the concept of solution clearly. Let me explain the solution first. Average time taken for the production of one unit is 100 hours. We have derived this figure from the information given in the question. We have produced 10 units in a batch, and for the manufacturing of 10 units, we are in need of 1000 labor hours. So from this information, we can easily calculate average time taken for the production of one unit. As given in the question, learning curve applicable to this process is 90%. Using these data, we have to calculate total labor hours for different batches of output. As per the information given to us, we are producing in batch, in a lot, or say production run. So the first column is number of batches, second, number of units, third, average time taken per unit. As per the given information, 90% learning curve is applicable to the manufacturing process, and last column is total time taken. Batches. Number 1, the first batch consists of 10 units of production. Average time taken to produce one unit 100. That we have completed over here. And total time taken to produce first batch 1000 hours. This information is ready-made given to us in our question. Then production is doubled. So earlier we have produced one batch, so now two batches. So when we are producing two batches, number of units are also double, that is 20. Average time taken, earlier 100 hours per unit. So now 90%, that is 90 hours per unit. Total 90 hours per unit multiplied by 20 units. So 1800. Then double the production. So from 2 batches to 4 batches. And units of productions are also doubled from 20 to 40. Average time taken, earlier it was 90 hours. So for 40 units, it is 81 hours per unit. So total time 81 hours multiplied by 40 equals to 3240. Double the production from 4 batches to 8 batches, and units of production are doubled from 40 to 80. Earlier we have taken 81 hours to produce 1 unit. So for 8 batches, 90% of these 81, resulting into 72.9 hours per unit. Total time taken will be 5832 hours. It is a result of multiplication of 72.9 hours per unit multiplied by 80 units produced. Then double the batch. From 8 it is 16, and the number of units are also doubled from 80 to 160. We will follow the same process in order to calculate average time per unit, and average time per unit when we are manufacturing 160 units, 65.61 hours, and total time taken 65.61 multiplied by 160 units. So total time taken 10,497.6. And last, double the batch size from 16 to 32, and number of units 320 from 160. We need to calculate up to 320 units because in our question maximum number of production units are given as 320. And right from the very first question of the chapter, I have discussed with you that we need to keep continue application of learning curve till the maximum number of units achieved as required in the question. So here it is 320. Average time taken will be 90% of 65.61 hours that we have achieved in earlier batch. So it is 59.05 hours. 59.05 hours per unit multiplied by 320 units, resulting into 18,896 hours in total. After calculation of average time per unit and total time taken to calculate or to produce number of units are available on your screen. Now we are required to answer the given question, and in order to answer the given question it is necessary for you to keep this table in the mind, because all calculations are not similar and simple. In some of the calculation we need to calculate using indirect format of the solution. Let us move to the next part of our solution. Labor hours required to produce 100 units. As per the question, we need to calculate cost per unit for 40 units. It is ready-made given to us over here. 80 units, it is also ready-made given to us over here. And the third level is 100 units. As we all know that 100 units are not available to us in our order of manufacturing. So if you double the production units, then 10, 20, 40, 80, 160 and 320. But as per the requirement of the solution, we have to calculate cost for manufacturing 100 units. In this situation, we have to calculate total hours required for 160 units. We have this information. For the manufacturing of 160 units, 10,497.6 hours required. Now, out of these 160 units, deduct time required to produce 20 units and time required to produce 40 units. Total time required to produce 20 units, 1,800 labor hours, and for 40 units, 3,240 hours. So in this way, total hours required for 160 units, 10,497.6. Total time required for 60 units, so that is 20 plus 40 is equal to 60. It is 1,800 plus 3,240. So 5,040. And the difference is defined as total hours required for 100 units. We need to calculate 100 units anyhow. And 100 units are possible if you deduct 60 units from 160. In any other combination, it is not possible. So here we need to apply simple logic in order to calculate labor hours required for the manufacturing of 100 units. After calculation of labor hours required to produce 100 units, now we can calculate the labor cost and other labor related cost. Here one more labor related cost is given, that is variable overheads, because the rate of variable overhead is ₹2 per hour. So units, total labor hours, labor cost and variable overheads. As per the information given to us, the rate of labor cost is ₹8 per hour and variable overheads are ₹2 per hour. Let us calculate for 40 units. For the manufacturing of 40 units, we are in need of 3,240 hours. The rate of labor cost is ₹8 per hour. So total labor cost is ₹25,920. Variable overheads are ₹2 per hour. So in total, the cost of variable overheads are ₹6,480. Now second desired level, 80 units. Total labor hours required to manufacture 80 units, 5,832. As I said, we are not supposed to worry for 40 and 80 units because 40 and 80 are included in the calculation of learning curve application, that is a doubling the production, 10, 20, 40 and 80. So for 40 units and 80 units are concerned, these informations are ready-made available to us. Now the rate of labor is ₹8 per hour. So total labor cost for 80 units are ₹46,656. and variable overheads at the rate of rupees 2 per hour, 11,664. The third required level of production was 100 units. And for 100 units, how many labor hours required, that we have completed in earlier note separately. And this calculation is important for all of us, because 100 is not included anywhere in the process of application of learning curve through trial and error, that is double the production. So we need to calculate 5457.6 hours separately in order to manufacture 100 units. Now labor cost at the rate of rupees 8 per hour. So the labor cost is 43,660.8 and variable overheads are 10,915.2. So in this way, we need to calculate labor cost and variable overheads for 40, 80 and 100 units. And using this information, we need to calculate cost per unit. Let us prepare a table showing calculation of cost. Particular, as per our requirement, 40 units, 80 units and 100 units. Direct materials. In this equation, information related to direct materials are not given. So we are not supposed to worry for this information. Just leave this information blank, as this information is not provided by the examiner. Direct labor. As per our calculation, the direct labor cost for 40 units, 25,920, 80 units, 46,656, and for 100 units of production, 43,660.8. So total is a prime cost, because other direct expenses are also not given. Then add variable overheads. At the time of calculation of direct labor, we have also completed calculation of variable overheads, because variable overheads are also based on per unit per hour cost. So using the labor hours, we have completed calculation of variable overheads in earlier table. Simply copy the figure and insert into cost sheet. So the result is a total cost. Total cost for 40 units, 32,400, 80 units, 58,320, and for 100 units, 54,576. Now we need to calculate cost per unit. Cost per unit is equal to total cost divided by number of units. So the result, when we have produced 40 units, it is 810 per unit. When we have produced 80 units, 729 per unit. And for the manufacturing of 100 units, the cost of production per unit is 545.76. In earlier questions, our answer comes to an end at this point of calculation. But as I said, this question is a different, and the examiner has asked a few questions to us. After this calculation, we have to give answer of the questions asked by the examiner. The first question asked by the examiner is total labor and labor related cost to produce 320 units. This is the very first question asked to us. So we need to calculate total labor and labor related cost to produce 320 units. For the calculation of these costs for 320 units, we are in need of labor hours. Check the table of average time and total time taken. In that table, we have already completed calculation of labor hours in order to produce 320 units. I have discussed with you that we need to extend our calculation till the maximum number of units required. And here, as per question, maximum number of units are 320. So from that table, you can easily derive the figure of total labor hours required. Now we have labor cost at the rate of rupees 8 per hour. Simply, we have labor hours over here 18,896 multiplied by labor cost rupees 8 per hour. So the cost of labor is 1,51,168. Then variable overheads. Variable overheads are also based on labor hours, and the rate of variable overheads are rupees 2 per hour. So 18,896 multiplied by rupees 2. So variable overheads to manufacture 320 units are 37,792, and total labor and labor related cost will be 1,88,960. So in this way we can easily calculate total labor and labor related cost to produce 320 units, subject to the condition that we have completed calculation of labor hours required to produce 320 earlier. Now second question. In a second question there are three sub questions, A, B and C. And in second question, we need to calculate average cost per unit when 40, 80 and 100 units are produced. We have already completed this calculation earlier. So simply we need to copy the figure from the cost sheet. Units 40, total cost of manufacturing 40 units 32,400, and cost per unit is rupees 810. Then 80 units, total cost 58,320 rupees, per unit cost 729, and last 100 units, total cost to manufacture 100 units are 54,576. So per unit 545.7. As we have completed cost for 40 units, 80 units and 100 units earlier, it is nothing more than repetition of the presentation. But we have to present because answer number 2 is all about average cost per unit when 40 units, 80 units and 100 units are produced. Now, third question asked by the examiner. In the third question, we need to calculate incremental cost of units 41 to 80. Incremental, additional, differential. So different titles are there. But our focus is to calculate incremental cost for the manufacturing of 41 to 80 units. In our calculation, we have completed calculation of the total cost for the manufacturing of 80 units, and it was 58,320. Then total cost of 40 units we have completed in earlier statement. It was 32,400. So it is a very simple to understand that for the purpose of making 40 units, the cost is 32,400, and for the purpose of making 80 units, the cost is 58,320. So difference 25,920 is related to manufacturing of additional 40 units, that is unit number 41 to unit number 80. So use simple logic in order to answer this kind of question. Now, after discussion of 3A, we need to calculate incremental cost of units 101 to 200. And again, it is a little bit technical. Why? Because in our sequence of calculation, we have not observed working hours or labor hours to produce 200 units. So again, we need to apply simple logic in order to calculate labor hours for 200 units. Now, focus on the table that we have prepared for average time taken and total time taken. You will find total time taken to produce 320 units, 18,896 hours. And on the other hand, you will find total hours required for the manufacturing of 100 units, 5,457.6, and total hours required for 20 units, 1,800. It is very simple to understand that 320 minus 120, 320 minus 120 equals to 200. So using this theory, in any question of learning curve, we need to calculate labor hours for any odd number of production units that is not covered in our calculations. So total time taken for 320 units, 18,896. Total hours required for 100 units, 5,457.6, and for 20 units, 1,800. So when you reduce working hours of 120 units of manufacturing from 320 units of manufacturing, you can easily find the amount of difference. And this difference is labor hours required to produce 200 units of output, 11,638.4. It is one of the most important calculation, because without this calculation it is not possible for us to calculate incremental cost of units 101 to 200. Now, using this information, we can easily calculate labor related cost. Calculation of cost for 200 units, and for these 200 units of manufacturing, we are in need of labor hours 11,638.4. Labor cost for 200 units at the rate of rupees 8 per hour, we have labor hours 11,638.4. So total labor cost is 93,107.2, and variable overheads at the rate of rupees 2 per hour, 11,638.4 hours multiplied by 2 hours. So total variable overheads are 23,276.8. It means if you produce 200 units, The labor and labor related costs are 1,16,384. But it is not our answer. As per the requirement, we have to calculate incremental cost for the unit 101 to 200. So how to calculate this? It is very simple. In earlier case, for 80 units and 40 units calculations were ready. So we have simply deducted cost of 40 units from the cost of 80 units. But in case of 101 to 200 units, some of the informations were missing. So we have completed our calculation in order to find out this information. Now, last part of our answer and our main answer, because the examiner is in need of this. Earlier calculations were ready-made available to us, but for this calculation we have applied our logic, our ideas. Let us insert the figure. Total cost of production of 200 units, 1,16,384. That we have directly inserted from here. And at the time of preparation of the cost sheet, we have completed calculation of the cost for making 100 units. Just recall the calculation. We have prepared cost sheet for 40 units, 80 units and 100 units. So from that 100 units, we have directly inserted the figure over here, 54,576. Now it's very easy for you to judge the cost for 101 to 200 units. Total cost of manufacturing 200 units, 1,16,384. Total cost of making 100 units, 54,576. So the difference refers to the cost of manufacturing 101 to 200 number of units, and it is 61,808. So sometime examiner may ask you these kind of technical questions. I hope all of you are clear with the solution of all three questions asked by the examiner. This is my humble request to all of you to watch this video twice or thrice in order to clear your concepts, because these kind of question is expected in any examination. I hope all of you are clear for the solution of this question. Thank you. Keep watching next sessions. God bless you.